Are you trying to enjoy the benefits of cold plunging without breaking the bank?
You and me both.
We'll show you our setup, which is about $1,000 out the door, but it will require a little bit of DIY and a little direction.
We'll show you how we converted this deep freezer into a cold plunge to see if this DIY is the right one for you. Let's get into it.
Hey guys!
Hey guys!
Let's get into the DIY process.
Yeah!
Alex is gonna walk you through the steps of how we set up our chest freezer, cold plunge, and what we would have done a little differently.
First thing you need is a chest freezer. If you really want to save some money, then Facebook Marketplace could be your jam.
Yeah.
But if you really want to know whether there's nothing wrong with it, the motor's not going to go out, then wait for a deal at Best Buy. So we got ours on sale. I believe it was around $400. We got the 14 cubic foot chest freezer. So I'm 5'11". So if you are, I would say 6 foot or above, it's going to be a tight fit.
What? Or you might.
Did Adam get in it?
He did. I just said it's going to be a tight fit. So we have a guy, Adam, shout out to Adam. Pretty sure he's 6'4", 6'5", and his first thought was, this one a little bit smaller. We also have one at our gym that is 17 cubic foot, and everybody fits in that one perfectly fine.
If anyone doesn't fit like the cold tub, then you could just buy a barrel.
Can. Shout out to Ice Barrel. Once you get your freezer of choice, first thing you have to do is remove all the hardware and remove the lid, so then you're just left with the freezer itself. I'm going to sand everything down inside and outside, and then you clean it with an alcohol.
Even if you have plastic?
Yeah, even if you had plastic, I would still sand it all down, because you're still going to want something to make the pond shield bond to. Then you need to waterproof the seams, and we use epoxy putty that's called a pool putty. It's a 2-part epoxy where you put them together, you rub it down, make sure you have multiple pairs of gloves. We ripped through plenty of pairs of vinyl gloves trying to put this stuff on because it gets really sticky and really tacky, but everything that's a seam that's going to be touching water needs to be waterproofed with the 2-part epoxy. One stick goes well unless you apply it very, very heavily, and then sometimes you might need like a secondary pack. All these things you can buy on Amazon, and we'll link all them in the description below. Once the epoxy goes on, it needs 24 hours to 48 hours to cure and harden. Once that's cured and hardened, you come back, you sand it again, make sure everything is good to go, clean it again, vacuum, wipe it down. You need to make sure there's no debris on it. If you buy a chest freezer that has aluminum on the insides, you need to get a primer. Do not use the Rust-Oleum self-etching primer. We used a primer from Zinsser. It was just a 1, 2, 3 primer for all products. If you can purchase a chest freezer that has plastic on the inside, you can kind of skip that spot. Then you're going to take your pond shield, which again you can buy on Amazon. It comes in a multitude of different colors, and you have to follow the instructions for the pond shield. I did not. So why I did not? 1, because I'm an impatient person. 2, because I was like, looks pretty good to me. It did look pretty good until it didn't look pretty good. On the pond shield directions, if you follow the instructions, it tells you to do this, but you need to wait a full 7 days for it to cure. It didn't look like it was an issue, but then small spot turns up, then another small spot turns up. Next thing you know, it's peeling, and it needs to get peeled completely off.
There was literally like a huge spot on the seat that had peeled up and off, and we tried to JB weld it. That didn't work. We drained it. Once that were peeling, we got off, so it looked like a hot mess, but
yeah, we pretty much went back to square one.
Yeah.
Pond shield we mixed together. You have to end up painting it on. It gets really, really like hardened and sticky, so you have to have a really tough roller to do it, a brush to hit some of the seams and some of the corners. We covered the whole entire outside with like Rhino liner from Amazon. It's called Herculiner. It just gives it a little bit of a different look and vibe, like you're not actually sitting in a chest freezer. Once everything is cured and you're good, you're going to fill the tub up.
We use an RV
water filter.
Thank you.
The RV
well,
water
I also
filter for
just like
drinking.
don't like smelling like a hose. So we really wanted filtration. That was important because we wanted to not have to dump the water every time like we used to with our Rubbermaid. So we got filtration. Filtration.
If you like being clean and you don't want to have to change your water on a regular basis, like once every week, then getting filtration, sanitation, and some circulation is going to help from any bacteria that is building up inside your plunge. Before we got the cold plunge, we were just filling up a Rubbermaid, putting ice inside of it and sitting in it. And after a day, the ice is going to melt. One of the reasons why we wanted to get the chest freezer is because it's going to keep it cold. We also need it to be clean so we don't have to pump it out all the time. We first started with some Marineland pumps and filters. They were the cheaper option. They seemed to do the job. We went from one Marineland pump filter to 2 marine pump filters. And eventually we upgraded to a pump system that a guy sells from the Facebook group that I follow. It's called Apex 86 and it comes with a pump. So we got the Danner pump. It comes with a little base and a little cushy thing to make sure it doesn't scratch up your cold plunge. Got the GE house filter with the Apex 86 on there, like so. Got the Venturi with a little fit on there for your ozone. Slips right on right there. Then we have the pre-filter that will sit on top, and I got the white one, so that way you can see any debris, and that's just gonna sit down and into the cold plunge like that.
Woo-woo! Woo-woo! How much
The sanitation that we use is mostly ozone, and we'll post the ozone that we have, one that we had at the gym before, and it's from Air Ethereal. It works out well for us. It keeps it clean. And then every once in a while we use food grade hydrogen peroxide that we pour into it. It's almost like it shocks it for us, but our water stays pretty good for probably about 3 weeks, sometimes to a month, depending upon how many times the kids get in it, how many people that we have over, how many times that we've done it. We use it about every day here because we have one at our gym as well. We'll do hot and cold therapy. So, you know, we're sweaty. We're not always rinsing off when we get inside of it. So it starts to get dirty. But that is one way to mitigate as well, is shower every single time you get inside your cold plunge to wash any lotions, any detergents, or anything, any sweat off of your skin.
And the filters were easier to get for the Apex
That's right.
pump because you can get it at Home Depot.
And you can get them on Amazon. Whereas the Marineland pump filters, you can only buy them from like Petco.
The Apex one has a hair catcher on the top,
Yeah.
which has been huge because the hair would get caught in the marine one all the time. So it's cool that you can just scoop it off.
It's called a pre-filter. And I definitely recommend getting the white pre-filter because you can see everything that goes on top.
Here is the pump. You see the white shows all the crud. So it's more of a cost, but it's well worth it.
Well worth it. Kind of what you're going to do with your cords. There is stuff that says you can drill through a freezer, but if you drill through a freezer and you hit a freezer line, your freezer is dead.
So we did drill through the freezer at the gym.
Yeah.
And we just put
Put a PVC kind of like connection pipe, like a threaded hose or a barbed hose through it. And then we just used more pool putty to
Seal
waterproof
it,
it
yeah.
so it didn't get inside of here.
It was sketchy drilling through it, wondering if we...
That's right. Yeah.
We had to Google, like, where are the lines in a freezer?
The one at our house, I just let them dangle over the side, and I got from Apex 86 as well. They have a little cord keeper where you can put all your cords in just to prevent them from kind of swinging all over the place. We have all of the equipment that we're going to use inside a hardware box. So the reason why you would put it inside a hardware box is because you want everything is outside. So unless you're under an awning or a covering,
Or in a garage or something.
or in a garage or
Yeah.
something, you would want it to have, like, your ozone's going to go in there, your Inkbird is going to go in there, the electrical component of your GFCI, including the Inkbird digital thermometer that we have. So if we didn't have the Inkbird digital thermometer, the freezer would just continue to freeze and continue to get colder and colder and colder, and it would turn the water into at least a block of ice on top, which you'll see a lot of people on Instagram or
Yeah.
TikTok or over YouTube busting into their ice.
You definitely don't need it, but
Yeah.
we love knowing what the temperature is.
For sure.
But also, we like to set it at a certain temperature. Like at the house, we don't keep it as cold as we do at the gym because
Yeah.
the boys are getting in it all the time. So it's been nice to not have to have it freeze over and know it's like in the 30s.
Yeah, because in the 30s
So
it's definitely way more painful. They recommend that you get the digital thermometer that has the silicone already around it or has the plastic probe. If you get the metal one, did have that on one of our plunges. One day it just shorted. It just stopped working, and the freezer said it was a certain temperature, but it was not. The plastic one is meant to be submerged, and it will not short on you. You know every single time you get in, it's going to be a certain temperature. It's really been fantastic, and it also keeps your freezer from having to work all the time. So it's connected to the Inkbird, so when it hits a certain temperature, it turns everything off, but your pump is still constantly circulating. It's still constantly pumping water, filtering your water, and keeping the water nice and clean. And it's been fantastic. We enjoy it. As every single time we get in, you turn the GFCI off, or you unplug it just to be safe. So the GFCI is meant to do its job, but to be safe, don't get in a chest freezer that is already plugged up that has electrical components, just because you could electrocute yourself. So plunge safely.
Show us how it's done. Cruz, why do you cold plunge?
It helps my cramps when I get done with soccer, like games. I'm still staying.
Okay.
You can stop filming.
We got the sweat tent. We really wanted to do hot and cold therapy. That's what started Alex and his snowball journey of DIY cold plunging.
Yeah.
We would use a Rubbermaid, fill it up with ice, and then have to dump it the same day. So sad. We were buying ice all the time.
Yeah.
And then
it's a viable option if you want
it is,
though.
yeah. But then it's like the inconvenience of having to like go and buy the ice and stuff. So we wanted something with more of a vibe too. So
if you guys have any questions, comment below and we will definitely answer them.
if this isn't for you and you want something a little easier, it will probably cost a little more. David Moss Jr. has a bunch of stuff on the ice barrel and how to chill those. So you go check out his stuff. He was really helpful when we were setting up ours.
If this video was helpful, please like and subscribe and follow us for more content on wellness and family life and just overall freaking fun.
Stay sandy.
Stay sandy. We'll show you how we converted.
Honestly, my body feels good. It's tingly.
You gotta look at the camera. You can't stare at your notes.
I know.
They're literally gonna be looking at you like, why is she looking at her?
I'm just looking down for a second.
Why is she looking down so much?
Why are you so close to your daughter?
Because I love her. No, we're not sponsored by Ice Barrel, but Ice Barrel is pretty fantastic. Go and make a DIY cold plunge then.
Hey guys, we have bananas.
Okay.